Hi all, this is Raul.
And this is Agatha.
And this is Sci-why. Well, Agatha, do you believe in aliens?
The short answer is no. The long answer is too long to say.
It's yes, but...
With a lot of buts.
Uh-huh.
It's like plenty of buts, like nudist beach.
Wow.
Yeah.
The image.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but today we are going to start by talking about how big is the universe. Alright?
Which is incomprehensible for my small brain. Okay.
Well, so. The thing is that the universe is way bigger than we think, and we know about that. Okay? Basically, the observable universe, meaning what we have mapped this far, is 90 billion light years.
You see, I don't even know how much is that.
90 billion?
I don't know how much is 200 meters.
Aha.
Is it close? Is it far?
Okay, we have a problem here. Okay, so imagine the Earth is in the center of the universe, okay? And our telescopes and satellites are able to map everything that is both sides of the Earth, let's say left and right, okay? So in total, from one end of the universe to the other end of the universe, and the Earth is in the center, there is 90,000 million light years. Okay, well, meaning that it would take you 90,000 million years to travel at the speed of light to cross the universe from one end to the other. Okay?
Which is impossible.
It's pretty impossible. Okay? And in the universe, we know that there is more or less about 100 billion galaxies, with each one with about 100 to 1,000 billion stars. Okay, so a lot. 1,000 billion stars in only one galaxy. That is huge. Okay, that is, as you see, like the numbers
the
when we are talking about stars, like the sun. Yeah.
So basically, like a lot of suns.
Yeah. So when we are talking about the universe, the numbers go up really quickly. Okay, so it's like so much. It's insane. So this means that there should be a lot of planets available for life. Planets that could develop life, no? So there should be signals of life everywhere in the universe. But this far, what we have collected with our telescopes and radioscopes and satellites and stuff, there is no sign of life anywhere.
You see, that's the trick, huh? Like, how are you supposed to believe in aliens if there is no sign of aliens?
Exactly.
In all those billions of light years and the stars and everything.
It's exactly like that. So the problem is that we haven't found any signs of life, and of course, no advanced civilization like us. Okay? So it poses a problem that is, where is everyone? Okay, like, guys, where are you? Okay,
maybe they are there, but they are pretending they are not. So they just ghosted us, and they were like, okay.
Major ghost.
Remember when we used to hang out with the people from Earth? How they were such assholes? I don't want to go through that anymore in my life. I don't need that kind of negativity in my planet. So how about we just never invite them for anything, okay? Let's just pretend that there is no brunch every Sunday.
Sounds familiar.
And then... Oops. And then we are like, oh, well, here we are, totally alone. But actually they are there. They're just very quiet.
Could be. That could be one of the explanations. That
Thank you.
Means
I
that
got a PhD.
in our local group, that there are no signs of life. A local group is the neighborhood that we live in, like the cosmic neighborhood. Okay, so our local group in the Milky Way. The Milky Way is our galaxy. That is a spiral galaxy. There are different types of galaxies, and ours is a spiral one. Okay, so our local group would be one of the arms of one of the branches of the galaxy. That would be our local group. Okay, so it's like a cosmic neighborhood, no? So anywhere outside our local group is too far to travel. Okay, so we will never exit our local group, probably, because we have the problem that the universe is constantly expanding. So it doesn't matter how quickly you travel, how fast you are able to travel in a super space rocket, the galaxies move away from each other faster than you can travel.
So are you saying that it's like, sure, you get a raise at work, but the inflation is growing so fast that you will never be afford to...
Yeah, exactly like that. So very good. So the thing is, like, since
I know my economy.
since the galaxies are expanding and getting farther from each other, we already have abandoned the idea that we will ever travel to other. But we can exchange information. That we can do. So
if anyone is willing to talk to us,
what we can do is send out signals, or in the shape of microwaves or infrared,
microwaves,
to make popcorn in Mars. Okay, so to communicate with other planets or other galaxies and stuff, that we can do. Okay, because these waves would travel at the speed of light, so they can reach wherever is need to. In quite faster than we could ever be able to travel. No? But the problem here of the Milky Way, and we are only talking about the Milky Way now, is that it has about 400 billion stars. Okay? Those are too many stars to map or even to pretend to travel to, of course. The thing is that we have mapped through years of research, of course, and we know that more or less that is the number. But the problem is that also we are receiving the light that left those stars back in the day. So we are not seeing the stars as they are now. We are seeing them as they were in the past. So maybe those stars don't exist anymore. So if we would send information to those stars, we would send, like, let's say, radio signals, maybe there is no one to receive them. So as you see, this matter is very complicated. So because of the number of stars that are around there, and because we are not able, because we don't have the technology to reach those places. Okay, so basically that's the question. The thing is that the star is not a special star. It's not especially big or especially hot, or
the closest.
It's just a star that just happens to be small enough and warm enough to have a planet that can host life, which is our planet.
Yay!
And like the sun, there are about 20 billion stars. So
the chances
the chances is that
someone like us.
There should be a planet like the Earth somewhere that is just warm enough, but far enough from the sun to not be dangerous. So
or maybe we are special.
Maybe we are special, but we are following what they call the Mediocrity Principle, which is using the Earth as an example for a perfect planet to host life. Okay? Meaning that we are looking for planets that are similar to the Earth so they can develop life.
And also, like, if you do something weird, like you have some weird habit, and then you think like, oh my god, for sure no one does that. Like, no one is biting their toenails.
No.
And then you go on the internet and turns out there's plenty of people who do it. So even though you thought that you were special in your weird, cringy thing, turns out there's plenty of people like that, and you can even, I don't know, have a fetish of it and make money.
Yeah, the thing is that thanks to the internet, we have learned that you are not special.
Yeah, so
like if you
the same should be for the planets.
Yeah.
Like if we exist and we are not exceptionally amazing, then probably there is also someone out there.
And we used to think that the Earth was exceptional, that it was a unique planet, but later, as we were mapping more and more of the universe, we were like, guys, there are plenty of stars like the sun. There must be plenty of planets like the Earth. Some of them have already been discovered, but the problem is that there are no signs of life in those planets.
Maybe not yet.
Okay. The thing here is that since the universe is
maybe when
so
we fuck
huge,
it up, someone else will.
Since the universe is so fucking big, and it's so difficult to communicate, it is not likely that we will just find life in a planet by sheer luck. Okay? Now, being pessimistic, it has been calculated that there is about 1 million planets that could be like the Earth and host life like the Earth. 1 million planets. Those are already too many, you know?
Yeah.
So, we come back to the same question. Where is everyone? Where are all the other civilizations? Because the universe is well, I would say rather old, but old is a relative term. You are old compared to something, you know? So, I would say that the universe is quite old. But since we don't have any other universe to compare it with, so we cannot really tell. But the point here is that in all the time that the universe has been around, let's say, we have not found traces of any other civilization before us. So, like, to begin with, why not? And don't tell me that the pyramids is an example of a previous civilization, because we already saw on YouTube that an Indian guy with a stick can do whatever. So, you know.
Well, can I give you my thought on that?
No. Oh, you can.
Okay. So, because I said that I don't believe in aliens. I don't believe in aliens as they are portrayed in movies. That they are like, you know, with big head and weird eyes, and they come and and we're like, oh yeah, I don't understand. If anything, I believe that there is like some kind of intelligence, but not necessarily like us. They don't have to look similar in any way. They don't have to be built in any way similar. Like, I think I'm more of a closer to the horror image that we would be given when it comes to aliens. That, like, maybe they are intelligent, but they are more what we would consider animals than, you know, Jeff Bezos, for example.
Oh,
you know, like
we have enough with one.
Yeah, like I don't really see, like, you know, a planet full of Jeff Bezos that they are so amazing with their technology and shit. Like, I don't think so. But maybe all those civilizations, like, we cannot connect with them because maybe they are just not what we expect. So that's why, like, that's my longer explanation. So no, I don't believe that there's Jeff Bezos out there, or Elon Musk, or Mark Zuckerberg. But maybe, like, you know, some kind of weird, dark, animalistic monsters that want to suck our brains and take over the planet.
So, like in the Alien movie.
I haven't seen it, so I cannot confirm nor deny.
Uh-huh.
So, what do you think about my theory?
Well, to understand your theory, which is, by the way, quite accurate.
You see, I'm like street smart. Like, I don't know,
sure,
like, how much is a billion, but I can, you know, make some reasonable guesses.
Well, to understand your theory and where does it come from,
I have to take you back. Know me.
I have to take you back to the magical 50s. Ooh. It was the year 1950. Okay, an Italian-American researcher, his name was Fermi. He was working in the New Mexico National Laboratory in some, it's probably in some shady research, because a laboratory in New Mexico in the 50s,
that doesn't sound
that sounds
really
sketchy.
great.
So yeah, and he was, you know, working in that laboratory in some research. He was, you know, doing his stuff, and with his co-workers, their names were Konopinski, nice, from Polish family,
familiar.
Teller and York. Okay, so they were, the four of them, they were, you know, taking a break from their research, from their science stuff, and they went for lunch. And they were talking about the most recent UFO sightings and, you know, what was happening back then, because then, you know, in the 50s, the people in the US were strong about aliens. They were like, guys, there are people out there. Like, so they were concerned about that, and they were talking about these matters, like, what do you think and stuff. And then the conversation went on to other topics, and at some point during lunch, Fermi just shouted, but where is everyone? And this is collected in letters that later were written about the conversation from these other co-workers, that apparently they all started laughing because they all understood what Fermi meant of where is everyone, meaning where are all these extraterrestrials that
they should be there.
They should be there. So the point here is that...
Because again, we are not some amazing, exceptional creatures that the God chose. We're just some randos made of some random
the thing is that
bacteria that just evolved.
We are not that special. So considering how many planets are out there that could be like the Earth, how come that we are the only ones? Sadly, Fermi couldn't answer to his question.
Oh, wow.
Because he died of cancer 4 years later.
Oh, for sure it's that. For sure he just died to not have to answer the question. Thank you very much.
Maybe he died of cancer in the same way that...
maybe it's,
the
sketchy.
This pedo billionaire, how was his name?
Epstein.
Yeah. Maybe he died the same that Epstein died. He was asking the wrong questions. I'm not saying that conspiracy theories are true, but yet you don't believe in any of them? Just saying. Anyway, the reasoning is as follows. First, we have to consider that there has been no other civilization before us. Because there are no traces of them. Okay? So, maybe we'll have to consider that before us, the universe, and more specifically our galaxy, was just too hostile an environment to develop any life. Because we know that...
Maybe the universe is not as old as we want to think it is, in like grand scheme of things.
But we do know how old is the universe.
Yeah, but like, as you said, young and old is relative.
Yeah.
So we know how old it is. Maybe the universe is still young. And then there's like so much
that could
in
be
front of it.
One of the explanations to it. Because we know that until quite recently, the Earth was very, very unstable. Like a lot of things were exploding in the Earth. There were like, cataclysm and seisms and stuff like that. Yeah. So, not until the Earth calmed down, that this happened recently, life could develop. So, maybe that is what happens, that the universe is just too young to have life in the way that we understand intelligent civilizations like us. Maybe we are the first ones.
And maybe we will be the ones who will reach out to other civilizations in the future, that they will be like, oh, where were you guys? And we're like, we were there, we were trying to connect.
But the thing is that the Earth only is 4 billion years old, which is quite young if you compare it with how old is the universe, which is almost 14 billion years old.
And yet, it's quite old compared to me.
Yeah, so the thing is that in all this time before us, there must have been plenty of opportunities somewhere else, maybe not in our local group, but somewhere else, to develop life. Even space travel. Because we managed to find space travel in the last 100 years. I mean, you have to consider that the 20th century started with not having sliced bread, okay, and finished with Eminem.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that time we developed like fuck, So space travel is like, let's say 50 years old. So it doesn't take much to develop space travel if you already have advanced technology. Yeah. Exactly. So this was suggested by the astrophysicist Michael Hart in 1975. He said, if intelligent extraterrestrials exist and they are capable of space travel, then the galaxy would have been colonized in a time much less than the age of the Earth. Because it is thought that it would only take 1,000 years to conquer the galaxy.
Sounds reasonable.
You also have to consider that this astrophysicist, Michael Hart, was a white supremacist. So whatever he says, I would take it with a pinch of salt.
So for him, the dominance of the universe was very important.
And all this can be summarized in what is known as the Fermi Paradox. The Fermi Paradox, named by this fella that asked where is everyone,
died of cancer instead of answering our questions. Thank you.
Basically, the Fermi Paradox starts from two questions. The first one is, there are so many planets in the universe that at least one planet should be able to develop intelligent life. And the second is that intelligent life always overcomes troubles and conquers new habitats. Okay? Now, based on that, how come that there is no one out there? How come that there is no intelligent life or no trace of it? This far, we are alone in the universe. Okay? So, this creates a conflict, a paradox, between how old is the universe, how many planets are there capable of hosting life, but there are zero traces of intelligent life. So there is a conflict here that we have to solve. What can we do about it? Well, actually...
Wait.
In the year 1961, a scientist called Frank Drake, he formulated an equation to calculate how many civilizations can be in the universe.
Those dudes in the 60s, huh?
Okay. This is how the equation looks like. As you see, it's just a simple multiplication of different factors.
Yeah. That's what it looks to me.
Now, this is just simple multiplication of different factors. This equation is supposed to calculate how many theoretical civilizations could have blossomed this far in the universe, considering different factors such as how many planets are out there, out of all those planets, how many look like the Earth, like which percentage of them look like the Earth, then the possibilities that they have friendly environment, meaning a star that looks like the sun, this kind of stuff, that they have an atmosphere, all these kind of things. The problem is that this equation is based on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parameters, out of which 4 we don't know. So we have to rely
the theory.
We have to rely on statistical probabilities and approximation to these calculations. Okay, so already the system is a little flawed, I would say, no? But this was like the first try to solve this paradox, which was ballsy, I would say,
Well, for a dude in the 60s.
The thing is that later we
developed... what did they know in the 60s?
Yeah, and later we developed a theory that is called the filters. Okay? That could answer why we don't have any life in the universe. The filters are all the challenges that a species had to go through and had to overcome to reach the present time. Okay? So, it's this theoretical concept that symbolizes all the adverse situations that you had to face as a species that made you evolve. Okay? So this is simple, right?
Yeah.
And it's called filter because you filter the individuals that are not worthy to go to the next level of evolution. We have to understand that first and foremost, life started from nothing. So
boom.
Like living organisms started from dead matter, from materials that are not alive. This is called abiogenesis. And this event is very, very rare. Dead matter will become living matter and create complex organisms. Now, we have another step of evolution, which is developing photosynthesis, which is how the first organisms became living organisms, like the phytoplankton, for example, or the algae. Then we have another filter, which is the creation of multicellular organisms, meaning that these different cells will like gather together and make a bigger organism, like lol. Then developing.
You want to develop together?
Then developing intelligence, which is a step that most people still are, struggling with. That? Yeah. Then the creation of tools to change the environment.
The wheel.
So, or the domestication of fire, for example. So all that stuff, all those are filters. There are still a lot of filters and a lot of challenges that people were this close to not overcome. For example, the Black Plague or the Spanish flu.
Or COVID.
All those were really, really close to wipe all humanity from the earth. However, we overcame and we passed that filter, okay?
Because we drank a lot of tea.
That almost happened with the nuclear war also.
That was just stupidity of people in power.
Stupidity is another filter.
Yeah.
Okay? So the thing is that when we are looking at the future, we think that what if civilizations already developed, but they were filtered.
Yeah.
Exactly. So maybe, let's say that in some planet, in some star, in some galaxy, life started to develop, but then failed because there was
not enough sun,
or there was a cataclysm and there was a volcano that wiped all life from the earth. Stuff like that, So this can happen. So maybe this is what happened, that they just missed their opportunity. So it can happen also that the filters are still ahead of us. Some people say that the next filter for evolution will be climate change. When we are able to stop climate change, because otherwise the earth will be wiped, then we will overcome a new filter. Or maybe we will at some point develop some technology that will kill everyone in the earth, such as happens with nuclear weapons. That now governments are saying that, guys, you have to stop producing nuclear weapons because, come on, I mean, this is serious,
You're going to kill everyone by mistake.
By the way, you are not going to use them. You truly are not gonna, because they are so powerful that even if you destroy all your enemies, the earth will be left, impossible to live in. So you don't want to live there. So you are not really gonna use them.
Well, you've seen Game of Thrones. The crazy queen wanted to burn everyone because, I don't give a fuck.
That's the thing, that maybe we have not found any civilization that was able to pass all these filters. Maybe they were so close, but almost, okay? Which would be a shame, no?
Yeah, but it would make sense because shit happens,
Yeah, and the thing is that we were thinking that there was life out there, and we still think about that, but maybe not in the way that we expect. Not because we are not searching, because this happened already a couple of times, that we thought that there was life, and then turned out to be a huge disappointment, as it happened with pulsars. So, pulsars are neutron stars that emit energy constantly, in regular intervals, like a pulse. Okay? And these intervals are so accurate that when we received these waves, we were thinking...
Morse code.
We were thinking, guys, look how accurate the intervals are. This must be some tool from some super advanced civilization, because it's impossible that they are so accurate without the help of technology. And they were like, oh, Matko, this is amazing. They found that, and they put to it the racist name of Little Green Men. Those signals were called Little Green Men. Like what the fuck, imagine that you travel to another planet. You're like, oh, another civilization will befriend this and everything. They reach and they're like, so you are the Little Green Men. And you're like, excuse me, mister, what the fuck? So they call them Little Green Men. And then further research proved that it was not proof of a advanced civilization. It was just a neutron star, which was kind of disappointment. But, oh well, that's science, no? But the thing is that we thought that there was advanced life, intelligent life. Now, some explanations of the Fermi Paradox would be that even if there is life out there, they did not overcome their filters. But now let's say that they did overcome the filters and they are able to develop the same technology as we do. We have the problem that the universe is so vast, so big, that it takes time to travel and time for information to travel also. We have a planet that is 200 light years away, okay? This means that the light that they are receiving from the Earth is the light that left us 200 years ago. So they are not seeing us right now. They are seeing the Earth as it was in the 1820s, 200 years ago. So they would see that and be like, we cannot communicate with these fellas. Look, they are not advanced, But by the time that they would send a signal, we would already be in the year 2220. Because it would take 200 years for light to travel. Yeah. So, as you see, there is this huge jet lag between planets that already makes communication really, really difficult. Yeah.
So how about we disagree, everyone deals with their own shit and leave others alone and don't even bother?
Well, there are many explanations.
That's my approach to many things.
There are many explanations. Some of my favorites are that we've been listening for too little. We started listening in the space recently.
Yeah.
So not for too long. So maybe we just need to wait a bit more. Another explanation would be that we don't have the technology. Maybe there are life out there, but we just don't have the technology to catch the signals. Exactly. Maybe we just have different tools.
Mm-hmm.
Another explanation would be that the aliens are too alien, meaning that different species, like you said, that we are so different species that we just cannot communicate with each other because we have different technology. However, since the laws of physics and maths work the same everywhere, it should not matter which language you are talking because the results would be the same. So it is thought that with maths, we could communicate with each other using a scientific method and so develop a universal language, which would be really, really cool. And about that, I would like to recommend the movie Arrival from the year 2016, which is a great movie about aliens that come to the Earth and they have the problem that they cannot communicate with the humans because we don't have the same language. Very good movie. So this is the question of the Fermi Paradox and how there should be aliens out there, but apparently there are none. So like, what the fuck? And me personally, I think that for sure there is intelligent life out there. It's just that we just have not reached them yet. Because the universe is way too big.
Why do we have to use the word aliens? This is like aliens has such bad connotations. Like I feel much more open to talk about life out there.
Extraterrestrials.
But like talking about aliens, that sounds weird. And this kind of suggests that you think about little green men.
Yeah, I understand. That's why usually they call them extraterrestrials, or lately they prefer to call it just intelligent life. Which, life can be intelligent even though it's not human.
Once upon a time, there were no humans on Earth, but there was intelligent life on Earth.
Yeah, in the shape of
dinos,
primitive species of monkeys, stuff like that.
And somehow we ended up here, so I would just wait and see. And just not talk about little green men. And
the little green man was what the fuck. So this is very, very big topic for only one podcast. So I really, really invite everyone who would listen to this episode to make their own research on this and get your own conclusions. It's very interesting and you can find plenty of information online on this matter. And of course, you can always check the sources at the end of this episode if you want further reading, I guess. And this has been all for this week.
Yeah.
I hope that you had fun.
Well, I definitely used my brain.
Yeah. If you like simple answers to complicated questions, you can follow our Instagram at sci.y.podcast.
Yes, I confirm.
And well, we will see you next week.
Yeah, or hear you actually.
Yeah, actually. I dzięki pa.
Dzięki pa.